What is the best lighting setup that won't break your wallet, yet give you great results for YouTube or content creation? If you're trying to level up the quality of your lighting for your YouTube videos or video shoots, but you're not made of money, then this is the video for you. Also, this video is not sponsored. I've bought all of these lights with my own money, and I've been using them now for some time. Now, I know that for those who are just getting into the world of videography, things can seem really expensive, especially lighting. I just dropped, so much money on my camera and lenses, and you want me to spend how much on lights? But spending all of that money on a good camera body and a whole bunch of lenses is not gonna pay off if your lighting is terrible. Also, lights are gear that you'll use for a very long time, so it's actually worth investing in it. Let's talk about three-point lighting. If you've been to film school or just around YouTube long enough, you know that the classical way to light a subject is using three lights, positioned roughly like this. It produces a very pleasant image, good shadows on the face, depth, as well as an interesting bunch of highlights on the scene. Actually, I'm using that technique right now, and here's my setup. Yeah, I know. You guys can see just how ghetto my YouTube setup is. I know, magic lost, right? But hopefully that illustrates that you don't need a crazy studio to get great quality video results, right? So I've got my fill light here, rim light here, right? So hair light. And then this here is the main key light, which is actually just pointed up at the roof, at the ceiling, and reflecting off of the ceiling. And here is what each of these lights is doing. Here is the key light alone, right? So typically you want it off center, lighting one side of the face above the subject and spilling over to the other side, right? Watch this nose shadow here that I got going on. Also make sure that it doesn't make any weird shapes on your face, right? Also remember that the bigger your light source relative to your subject, the softer the shadows that it will produce. This is why I've got mine here set up bouncing off of the roof, because now the ceiling becomes a big reflector that makes my light source a lot bigger. This here is my fill light. This is one that should help to fill out some of the dark spots on the other side of the key light, but not so much as to flatten out the image. You still want some shadows and contrast for interest and depth, and I have my lights colored just to illustrate a little bit more clearly how they're interacting with this scene and what they're contributing to this lighting setup. And finally, here is the rim light for the hair, right? So this is hitting the back of my head, lighting up my hair, giving me a bit of a rim here on this side. This one is usually put behind the subject on the opposite side of the fill light, and is elevated so that the light's kind of the back of your hair, right? And helps to separate the subject from the background behind you, right? And gives a slight rim around their profile, their silhouette. I've got this a little bit more pronounced just to illustrate it a little bit clearly. Now let's start to put them together. So this is the rim light. Let's add in the fill light, right? So you can see kind of what it's doing here. And again, these are a bit more pronounced and strong than what I would normally do. I like a little bit more subtle sort of lighting normally. But again, I'm trying to illustrate this clearly for you. And finally, here it is with the key light. This is what it looks when it's all put together. And you can play around with many different combinations of colors and little bits of positionings and differences, right? To give you different looks and vibes with this one setup of three lights. It's the foundational lighting setup that every video creator should know. The light that we're using for our main key light is the Aperture AMRAN 60, which costs about $170 for the D version and about $200 for the X version. So far, this is one of the best budget lights that I've found on the market today, and I really love it. The Aperture AMRAN 60 is a chip on board or COB light, and the COB lights are compact, energy efficient, and produce excellent continuous uniformity of brightness for hours without producing a whole lot of heat, which makes them ideal for photographers and filmmakers. Last thing you want is to be sweating during a shoot. The AMRAN 60 comes in two variations, the 60DS, which I have here, and the 60XS. The D version is a 65 watt light tuned to daylight color, which is about 5600 Kelvin, whereas the X version has a bicolor range of about 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. Now, they are IP54 weatherproofed, meaning that they're dust and water resistant, So you could take it outside for a shoot with the peace of mind that it's not going to destroy your light. And it also has a V-mount adapter here built in. Here's the V-mount adapter that it comes with. And they can also be powered by one NPF battery for half power or two for full power. And you just slide them into the V-mount adapter like that. Then put it on the V-mount here. And then you'll connect this wire into your power. And you've got mobile power for your light. Really handy. Let me just say that the power adapter and the length of the cord that they give you for this unit is super long. It has a Bones mount adapter here, which is the most popular mount for lights and shaping domes, etc. Also, the internal fan keeps the light from overheating and isn't very loud, so you don't have to worry about it getting into your audio of your recording. The light also supports the Sidus Link mobile app for control and changing your settings remotely and setting up presets, which is super handy on a shoot. It also has all of the usual gimmicky lighting effects that you'd expect that almost no one uses, like the candlelight, lightning, etc. Okay, maybe a couple of people use it. Now, some people may be concerned that such a small light can't possibly have enough output to achieve proper brightness. Now, this may be true if you're trying to light up a big set. However, don't underestimate this little light. It actually punches way above its weight class. I was a bit surprised about just how bright this little light can get. I chose the daylight version, the 60D, over the bicolor version since it gives actually a little bit more output since all of the LEDs are just one single color as opposed to splitting it between the two colors. So if you want to have the max output from the Amran 60, get the D version. But if you want to have a bicolor light for simulating incandescent light and daylight, then get the X version. For me, it's more than enough for doing YouTube videos in a small office or room, and I usually have it mounted at my desk, making it easy to just turn on and hit record. Also, if you've got low ceilings like I do, then you can just bounce it off of the ceiling and it makes for a really nice diffuse lighting. I've even used it on some professional shoots where space is limited for my bigger light that can't fit. Let's talk a little bit about light diffusion. So the next thing that you're going to be looking at is some light diffusion. Why? Because this is why. Looks pretty terrible, right? And that's because the Amran 60D is a small point of light. So it creates really harsh shadows on its own. And you need to diffuse that light either by bouncing off a large surface like a low ceiling or using a softbox. There are many options out there for softboxes, but one of the best that I found for the budget and a portable solution is actually this one, the Aperture Light Dome Mini 2. It costs around $130 US. It's not the biggest softbox as you can see, but if you're able to get your light source close to the subject, it should do the trick. Just remember that the further away your light source is though, the more powerful the light and the bigger the softbox that you need in order to achieve soft lighting because it's dependent on the size relative to the subject. The Light Dome Mini 2 is a compact and portable softbox at about 22 inches in diameter, which is perfect for use in tight spaces or in bedrooms due to its shallower dome, as you can see here. It's also really easy to set up and to take down quickly, which is very handy for professional shoots where time is money. You can also get it with a honeycomb grid like I have here, which helps to control the light spill so that you can focus your light on the subject and not spill all over to the background or other objects. This is really handy for isolating your subject and creating some separation between them and the background. Now you'll also need a light stand to mount this light and dome. I recommend that you either go with the small rig light stand with a boom arm, which actually helps you put the light overhead, and it sells for around $100 US, or you can get one of those newer basic light stands. These are pretty cheap, but they'll do the trick, that sell for about $40 US. I'll have links in the description for all of this. Let's talk about the rim and fill lights. And for this, I'll recommend getting the newer 660 RGB lights, which are around $320 US for a pair with light stands. Here's one of them right here that I was using to light up my background. You can see that it comes with barn doors in order for you to direct your light and to mitigate some of the spill. They don't work perfectly, but they'll do the job. I definitely wouldn't use them though as my main key light unless I was really in a bind. The nice thing about these lights is that they can produce a wide range of color temperatures between 3200 to 5600 Kelvin and also RGB tints. They have a built-in LCD screen that shows the current settings and can be controlled via a mobile app wirelessly. While the newer 660 RGB lights may not be as powerful as some of the other lights on the market, I mostly use them for accent lights anyways, which means that I'm seldom putting them on their full blast since I don't want them to overpower my main light. I've also never had any issue of fan noise from these lights, they're very quiet. The included stand is a little bit dinky, but it gets the job done. Typically for YouTube stuff, I like to use complementary colors or contrasting colors, that is colors that are on the opposite sides of the color wheel to create some pop, and then I'd usually have them on max saturation just for that extra bit of vibrancy to catch the eye for YouTube. Sometimes it's good to have brand consistency with your lighting, but also mixing it up can help create some freshness. Try using your lights at varying intensities, colors, saturations, and heights and angles. There are literally limitless possibilities of what you can do with creative lighting. And I'd also suggest learning from the video creators that you like. Try to analyze the lighting in their scenes by pausing their video and then trying to discern, okay, where are they placing their light sources? Imitation is a big part of learning. Well, that's it for this video. Hit the like button and subscribe if you got value from this video. My name is Thaddeus from Curious Creative Media, and I hope that you found it helpful as I try to create videos that will help other fellow creative professionals with honest reviews and tips from my own experience. There are affiliate links below if you're going to buy one of these products. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but it gives me a little bit of a kickback and gives me some encouragement to keep producing these videos. If you've got some other tips that I've missed or would like me to tackle another topic in a future video, please drop a comment below. And until next time, go create something awesome.